What's going on, guys? It's Trevor here coming at you from the Tesla Model 3 on FSD mode, and I want to come talk to you about some breaking strategy MSTR news. Michael Saylor, the leader, the one and only, the guy that runs the company, he has now posted on his X account 15 minutes ago. This is breaking, guys, that basically MSTR Strategy Inc. has set up a $1.44 billion USD strategic reserve. And what is this for? This is for covering dividend payments, all dividend payments for an entire 12 months. It's got a little bit more to it. They want to expand on this in the future. Michael Saylor also posted over the weekend some really cryptic, crazy thing on X about how he could potentially be buying Bitcoin for MSTR at a lower price than what you and I would be paying for. Basically, green dots versus orange dots. So if you know what I'm talking about, definitely stay tuned. I want to talk about all this stuff in this video. But before I get into it, let me tell you guys, please consider subscribing to the channel. We make videos on this stuff daily. MSTR, Bitcoin, AI and robotic stocks, that kind of thing. That's kind of our vibe here. Also, please like the video. Helps out the video a lot. Helps out with the algorithm. And let me know what your Bitcoin price targets are below for the end of the year. And let me know what your MSTR price targets are for by the end of the year. Okay, so check it out. We've got MSTR basically setting up a USD reserve that covers 12 months of dividend payments for all of the preferred stocks. So that's 1.44 billion, where that's just set aside in USD. So it's not volatile like Bitcoin. It's literally there just to pay the preferreds off, right? And the press release actually goes to expand to saying that they want to expand this essentially to 2 years worth of dividend payments, just in the bank essentially, not being affected by Bitcoin price. This is just U.S. dollars over inside of some sort of an account, right, that they have to be able to pay off all of the preferreds, right? So this is a really, really big deal. I'm somewhat surprised they didn't start this before. Basically, it just kind of shows that it's not a Ponzi scheme. MSTR is not a Ponzi scheme. They're always going to be able to meet their dividend, as well as their convertible debt obligations, right? So for you to keep like a little bit of money on the sideline is essentially what they're doing, right? For you to do that, that increases investor trust, I'm sure, a whole lot, right? That's a big deal, right? It's saying, hey, we really believe in Bitcoin, but at the same time, we don't want to become insolvent, right? And we see all these people talking about how we're going to be insolvent, how Bitcoin's going to go through a prolonged crash, and we're not going to have the money to be able to cover all of our, dividends and, convertible debt obligations. So we're going to have to sell Bitcoin. So instead of ever having to sell Bitcoin, take a hedge, say, hey, we're going to set this billions of dollars. This is a lot of money. This is almost $1.5 billion in US dollars. We're going to set it aside so that everyone knows, hey, we're solvent, right? There's a whole year. We know that the Bitcoin halving happens every 4 years, and that essentially every 4 years, like, the price of Bitcoin is nowhere near it was like the previous 4 years ago. Like today compared to 4 years ago, there's no comparison, right? So really, if they had 4 years, I would feel even better, and I'm sure like a lot more people would feel better. But at the same time, that's a lot of money. That's like over $6 billion they could just have in Bitcoin, right? Especially if they're so bullish short term. So it's really kind of like a give and take, It's like you don't want to have too much cash on the sideline because the cash keeps getting debased, but you don't want investor sentiment to just continue to get, to sink, because you got a lot of, the bears have came out of hibernation on this stock, right? They see the stock went down a lot and they just want to keep pushing it down. So whatever you can do to establish better investor, trust, correlation, these types of things, because I think most people agree that MicroStrategy, Strategy Inc., MSTR stock is leveraged Bitcoin. It's amplified Bitcoin, whether it's up or down, right? The problem is when it's down, right? It's like when it goes down a lot, then you have like all these, like I said, the bears come out of hibernation, and they take over the sentiment. Even though Bitcoin's probably going to $1 million by 2030. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't sue me, bro. Nothing should be taken as financial advice on this channel. But that is my personal humble opinion from a guy on YouTube, that I think that Bitcoin will be $1 million by 2030, right? And so in addition to this, I guess I should also say that that Strategy Inc., MSTR, also acquired, I want to say like 130 Bitcoin at like 86K, 87K, something like that, to the point where they actually now have, I believe, exactly 650,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet, right? To where they have more Bitcoin than most companies or high net worth individuals could only dream of. You know what I mean? Like every dollar Bitcoin goes up or down, they make or lose $650,000. That is absolutely insane when you think about that asset. Bitcoin could move $3,000 a day. You know what I mean? So in a single day, what is 3,000 times 650,000? I don't know, but it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, and with how volatile it is, like MSTR has something like 50, 60 billion dollars in Bitcoin. So you're talking about they go up or down 5% a day, is really what you have to be ready for, right? And for MSTR, like they usually, as we know, it's usually amplified Bitcoin. So it's either going down twice as much as Bitcoin is or up as twice as much as Bitcoin. So yeah, I think this new strategic reserve is a good idea. I think they should have done it a while ago. I think a lot of people will feel a lot more trusting that this company can make it out of even like bad time, like even in a Bitcoin bear market, when that does happen again, right? As long as MSTR has USD, US dollars on the sideline to cover their debt obligations and their preferred dividend payments, then like we're good. At that point, MSTR, their whole job is just to figure out ways to acquire more Bitcoin on the dip. While Bitcoin's lower, figure out more ways to buy Bitcoin without diluting your shareholders. You don't want to you don't want to do that. But like if you can issue more preferred stocks, or who knows what else Michael Saylor and the team out there at Strategy Inc. have up their sleeve, right? That kind of leads me to the very last point in this video, right? Where if you haven't already, you should definitely check out Michael Saylor's X account and what he posted yesterday on Sunday, right? Because he posted something, he always posts on Sunday when they bought Bitcoin, and he'll say something like it's a good day to buy Bitcoin or buy the dip, or he'll say something like that. And it's kind of a code word for him saying, hey, MSTR just bought more Bitcoin. That's what it boils down to. But today or yesterday on Sunday, he posted, wouldn't it be cool if we could buy the green dots instead of the orange dots? And so you have to kind of look at what he's talking about in the picture or whatever. But the orange dots are the current price of Bitcoin with respect to time, right, on the graph. And the green dots are like a lower price, almost looks like an RSI line. I'm not entirely sure what the line is, but it's just basically a line that kind of traces the orange line, but it's just lower. It's like 20% lower, 30% lower than the current price of Bitcoin. So, yeah, with all that being said, this is a brand new industry, these Bitcoin treasury companies, to the point where we don't know all the rabbits that are in the hat. Like, I'm well aware that I'm stupid, right? That all I can figure out is, the research that I can do. I can read books on Bitcoin. I can listen to Michael Saylor podcasts. I can listen to other YouTubers and what they have to say. I can watch the news. I can do all these things. And I can kind of try to figure out what I think the future will look like with respect to AI and crypto, right? But at the end of the day, I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not Michael Saylor. I'm not Jensen Huang. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not in the know with all these, super elite, super rich people, right? But I also have no ins with Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan or anyone else, right? But like, who knows? What I'm trying to say is like the amount of ways that a company or an individual like Michael Saylor, who knows what the extent is that people can actually raise capital, right? So if you have, what I'm saying is if, let's say, like he wants to buy the green dots, he's used preferreds, he's used equity, and he's used debt. All three of those to buy more Bitcoin, right? And that's how Michael Saylor and MSTR have accumulated so much Bitcoin. And they do it in an accretive way, right? So in other words, Bitcoin per share has basically gone up. It has gone up with every single purchase of Bitcoin they've ever done, right? So shares might have went up when they diluted equity, sure, but the amount of Bitcoin per share has went up as well, right? So that's what makes it accretive to shareholders. So what I'm saying is, yeah, maybe there's a new preferred, maybe there's a whole bunch of more preferreds that he's going to issue, to cover the whole world or something like that. I don't know what his plan is, or there's something completely different that we've never even thought of, right? It's 2025, right? Almost to be 2026. You know, the amount of like no one believed that Facebook would make money back in the day, but look at how much money they make with ads. Same thing with Google, right? Like, there's just been so many companies that like they'll do something and you don't understand how they're gonna make money, but then they make so much money. You know what I mean? So that's really, it's kind of a bad analogy, but what I'm trying to get at the end of the day is I don't know what the green dots are. Maybe the green dots are just him saying, "Hey, our MNAV is below one, or but so we're gonna buy our shares back," right? If the MNAV is below one, I'm not sure exactly what the MNAV is on MSTR right this very moment, but I don't believe the MNAV is all the way down at those green dots. So that's my thing, is I don't think it's that, because the MNAV is not that low. You're not trading at like a 0.8, 0.75 MNAV. Otherwise, I think MSTR would be buying their shares back like crazy. Um, so yeah, guys, I'm not sure. I think it's something new. It's either a new preferred stock, or it's some other, like maybe like selling at like warrants. I'm not sure. To be honest with you, I'm really not sure, but I'm very interested in why he posted that, because he must have posted it for some reason. So with that being said, if you guys have any idea what those green dots are and how MSTR is going to accumulate more Bitcoin with respect to those green dot prices, definitely let me know in the comment section below, because I would love to know what your guys' opinions are. And with that, guys, yeah, I think I'm going to call the video a wrap. The dividend payments, big deal. This USD reserve, big deal. A lot of it's a big deal to me anyway. As an MSTR shareholder, I want to know that MSTR can stay solvent and pay all their dividends, pay all their convertible notes, all this stuff. So that's a big deal. More Bitcoin on the balance sheet, and then the green dot idea. So that's kind of the gist of this video. I did want to say I'm starting a YouTube store where I'll be selling Bitcoin specific products. So be on the lookout for that. That should be up by the end of this week. If you have any suggestions as to what I can put into this YouTube store that you think that would be cool, that are Bitcoin related, whether it's keychains, key fobs, something for your car, something for your work desk, something for your kids, a shirt, a certain design of the shirt, certain design of like a sweater or like a hoodie or anything like that, definitely let me know below. Any ideas you got would be very helpful. Once again, if you've made it this far, 12 and a half minutes in, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. Yeah, and then also, if you don't mind, please like the video. So with that, guys, have yourself a great day.